What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the Aidric Solo Show, which is the show that is ran solo by me, Aidric, talking about random things on the internet I find interesting. So, our first topic for today is ordinary Wi-Fi can now identify people with near perfect accuracy. So, I'm going to save you guys my illiterate ass reading through the article I just read. And basically, it's a Science Daily article that talks about um like how advanced Wi-Fi and detection have become, that they can ping like devices in your house. You don't even need to have your phone on you. When I read it, I was like, oh, you just gotta have your phone on you. Get rid of your phone, you're good. Apparently, that's not the case. They can use like radio signals from your Wi-Fi to like bounce off you, and then like to figure out where you are, so they can figure out where you are in your house based off other like devices. Like I don't have my phone on me, but they can be looking at the Wi-Fi from my computer and from my Xbox off to my right, see how it's bouncing around the room, and they can make out my figure. So they did say in the article that this technology really isn't that useful because they can tap into cameras and everything else now, so it doesn't really matter. And there's a million and a half other ways to search you. But like, imagine like the future of this. Like, imagine you're on a date and like the girl pulls up with her fucking like Wi-Fi detector and she just scans your ass real quick. And she's like, "Yep, his dick's only an inch and a half long. We're gonna have to go on down the road." Like this is kind of what I'm seeing as a potential for this. I actually think it could be good used for like medical technology. Like maybe they bounce like micro Wi-Fi rays like through your body and detect cancer, or it could be used to scan your penis size. So goes both ways. I could also see it being used for like maybe at like airports or something, where like say I had a bomb just strapped to my ass, and they could use the Wi-Fi rays to pick up on it. I'm sure there is a good technology. I'll go through and reread the article. I just kind of skimmed it. Um, but one thing that they did say is they could use it to like track habits. So say they're trying to find a murderer. mm, Say I was a suspect for a murderer, they could go through the Wi-Fi, because Wi-Fi is everywhere. Obviously, cameras aren't necessarily everywhere. Like they are everywhere, but not everywhere. Everywhere. Like there's gonna be blind spots in a camera. There's no blind spots in Wi-Fi. So they could go off of like the router at the local like coffee shop. Say I walk by a coffee shop every day on my way to work, and that coffee shop's internet can scan my body, and then say on the day of a murder I didn't walk by that coffee shop. They could use that as evidence to be like, yo, he wasn't here today, which is kind of like that's insane. Like that's genuinely crazy. But honestly, that's about all I have to do on that topic. This next one comes off of ABC News. Screamworm flies detected in Texas decades after cattle threat was largely eradicated in the U.S. So if no one knows what these flies are, they're like flies that can eat flesh. They mostly on cattle. So the outbreak started. Let's see here. It does not say when the outbreak started, but basically the first case was found in a 3 week old calf, just like outside of like Houston or something. Um, and Bud did said he is established. Okay, yeah. So they established for some reason. So this breakout is obviously a pretty big deal because it eats like the flesh of the cattle and they like get inside somehow. So the amusing part of this was to me was that they established a 12-mile quarantine zone where you were prohibited from moving any warm-blooded animals, including pets. So like you got a little Chihuahua. I guess like it says here you have to have your pets inspected. So I don't know how the hell they inspect for screen worm flies. I don't know if they like just got like an agent there sticking the fingers up the asshole of my dog and just like giving that motherfucker a swirly or what. But they have to inspect each and every single animal that is going in and out of this 12-mile zone, which is kind of crazy. I'm not gonna lie. Like I feel like you would know if your animal had flesh eating something or other. Like I feel like that's a pretty prominent trait. I could be wrong. I don't know. Actually, hold on. I'll look them up real fast. The New World screwworm fly. Do they screw into you? Is that like how their flesh eating starts? Screwworm fly. All right, let's see here. What it is, how it could threaten. It just looks like a normal fly. What the hell? Let's see. Let's go back to search here. Oh, that's not the search button. That is the search button. That's not how you search. Okay, so you gotta go to all. How it spreads. They lay eggs in open wounds, orifices, or fresh cuts such as eyes, ears, nose, mouth, and genitals. Ooh, that is lovely. Bring a whole new. I think it's called fletching, where they like put shit in your like dick hole. Bring a whole new kink to that. You think there's any think there's any people out there that just like fucking get off to that? Like they're like that's their fucking dream is like just housing some goddamn flies in their in their fucking dick, and then when it's like a fucking shotgun for them when the eggs finally hatch, they just like go rub one out and fucking shoot it on something. That unfortunately probably I fear that's not an original thought or a original action. So the eggs hatch into larvae that burrow into the flesh, causing painful and foul-smelling wounds that can rapidly spread and worse to death leads to death. Oh, this is the first time in over 60 years that the that has been detected. So there's been 2 cases 5.6 miles away from each other. That's a long distance for a fly. Hold on here. You know what? We're gonna do some math real quick. How fast does a fly travel? See what kind of journey that was for the fly. How fast a fly travel? So is that just like the only animal? Like they couldn't find anything else? And can they smell blood? Um so they cruise at about 4 to 5 miles an hour. So that's only an hour-long journey for a fly. I don't know if a 12-mile like quarantine zone is enough then, honestly. When threatened, they can moderately accelerate to 8 to 15 miles an hour for short bursts. Okay, that is actually really fast. Okay, so that's just for house flies. Fruit flies are only about 2.2 miles an hour. Horse flies can reach up to 90 miles an hour. What the fuck? Holy shit. Imagine like the larvae flies because they like burrow into you. It's like imagine that fucker coming at you like 90 miles an hour, fucking hitting you real fast, shitting its eggs out and just going off and doing its thing. You know, imagine it's coming for your urethra hole. That is lovely. All right. Well, they I did I did read deeper into the article before the episode started. It seems like there's no real way to eradicate these flies. So basically what they do is they just like they go they genom they like they these flies like mate with regular flies, so they just take a fuckload of regular flies and they sterilize them and they put them in the area because these flies live for like 3 months, but they only mate once. So if they have no flies in the area that could like they mate right before they die. So if they have no flies in the area that can like mate with them and give them sperm or whatever the hell they need, um, they obviously aren't gonna have any kids. So basically, they just like neuter. That's how they fixed this issue 50 years ago. Is they just like neuter every fly within like a 20-mile area, and they just mate with the neutered flies, and then it stops it stops like the zombie flies from flying around. So they did say that the last time this happened, the campaign was so effective that they thought that they had eradicated them. So of course they shut down all of these flies, like fly producing factories that like where they produce the neutered flies at. So the only one left in the world is in Peru. So I guess we're gonna have to import our neutered flies from Peru, or I guess just I don't even know, get a bunch of jars, go catch a fuckload of them, and just neuter them like that. I don't even know how one would neuter a fly, but that is enough of that. So while we're keeping on the topic of animals, Australian cockroach kingpin caught with 100,000 illegal insects in record bug bust. That is that is quite the headline there. So it is apparently illegal to keep cockroaches in Australia, and they were confiscated from a single breeder in the country's largest ever seizure of exotic invertebrates. How do you get caught trapping out like cockroaches? You just fucking you're walking down like the street or something, a bunch of them fall out of your pants, and you're just like fuck, and then someone calls the cops on you, and you're like, those are illegal. You can't do that. I mean, that's insane. I guess if like because I read I read this article as well a little bit, and it seems like people people breed them obviously to like sell to like reptiles and stuff. So like, how the hell do you get caught? Because like obviously you get caught with drugs while you're in a car. Someone's gonna rat out the plug to not get jail time. How the hell do they catch you with cockroaches? Like, I'm not gonna lie, if I was a police officer, and maybe maybe there's cockroach training out in Australia, I don't know. But if I was a police officer and I was searching a car and I saw like a bag of cockroaches, I wouldn't think anything of it. I'd be like, damn, this fucker's just weird. Let's look for something other than this. And I just like toss them behind me, just fucking let them out into the local habitat. So apparently this guy was was breeding Madagascar hissing cockroaches, which is terrifying enough. They're about 2 to 3 inches in length, so roughly the size of your finger. I have pretty dainty hands. This is probably about a 3 inch finger right here. So just imagine like a cockroach that big that has the ability to hiss. That would be absolutely terrifying. So apparently Australia actually has a very flourishing cockroach population that I read. So I don't know why it's illegal, but they're only about an inch to an inch and a half long. They flourish due to the subtropical climates, and the country is home to hundreds of species. Why not add another one? Honestly, like if it was any other country, I'd be like, yeah, don't introduce invasive species. That's not good. Hurt the ecosystems and stuff. But I believe in Australia's abilities to come back. They already got like so many crazy creatures out there. Like let's just bring all the fucking mutants down there and just see what we can make. I bet you if you left like 50 of those guys down there, just 50. All you need is 50. You give them 50 years, before you know it, you'd have like I don't even know 20-inch long cockroaches. Just because that's that seems to be what happens down in Australia. I mean, they things just get bigger and they get crazier. Like I bet you it doesn't even hiss anymore. It's like a fucking dragon, like it's a fire breathing cockroach. So honestly, I'm kind of against them seizing this guy's cockroach. I mean, because worst comes to worst, you let 100,000 of these bad boys out, and all the like mutant reptiles that live out there start eating them, like the lizard dragons and stuff. Like let's get them off their 1 inch cockroach diets. Let's get them to 2 to 3 inch. Like let's get them the fucking big boys out there. And I guarantee you, like some crazy stuff will start happening. Like they'll start getting like the reptiles out there start getting bigger. Maybe dragons will come back. That'd be pretty cool. Like give it. I want to say chameleon dragon. I know that's not right at all, but I think it's bearded lizard dragon or something like that. Any one of the lizards that has dragon in the name, I guarantee you, if you feed a population of those cockroaches for like I don't know 50 years, they'll probably like grow fucking wings, gain the ability to hiss and shoot out fire, and honestly that'd be sick. I may be a little biased because I don't live in Australia. Like if that was happening over here in the United States, I'd be calling for the extermination of our country. But if it happens out in Australia, if I can watch some YouTube videos of like some Aussie woman just like having to beat down a goddamn lizard dragon that's breathing fire at her, just like, "Oi, mate, get the fuck out of here!" And then she just starts swinging with a baseball bat. I think that would make my YouTube history, and then I could react on it too. The podcast, there's only so many podcast topics out here. Although our dear friends in Australia are adding more with the cockroach kingpins. But there's only so many podcast topics, so I gotta get into something else, some reaction videos or something. It's more clippable too, I can post it on YouTube or something, or TikTok. But yeah, I might get into reaction videos, and that seems like a great reaction video. As long as it's not happening over here, as long as we only have the flesh eating worms or whatever the hell else, I'm all right with that. It doesn't sound like they infect humans too bad either. So honestly, let's like start climbing up my pee hole. But there's some people who are really into that, so maybe I'm like dogging on it before I try. I don't know. I can't say that I've tried putting things up my pee hole. Let me know in the comments section down below if you have. I'd be interested to hear. I've never met someone. I've met a lot of strange people in my day. I've never met someone, at least never met someone who admits to putting things up their pee hole. I I've definitely walked past someone before though. Like how many people do you think enjoy that? Hold on, we're gonna search this up. This is before we get on to our next topic. This is more important. How many people? Hold on, where I gotta make sure I get my terminology right. What is it called when you enjoy shoving things up your penis hole? All right, let's see what YouTube can cook up for me, or not YouTube, Google. The practice you're describing is called urethral sounding. Huh. All right. Safety tips if done. All right, they actually got safety tips for me here. This is awesome. This is exactly what I needed. We're gonna ask a follow up. Hold on, it's searching. How many people have tried sounding before? Slash what percent of people? All right, let's see. What percent of people out here have given sounding a shot? Survey data for men. Holy shit. I've definitely met someone who's tried sounding. Uh, Cross-sectional surveys of men indicate that roughly 10 to 11% have engaged in recreational urethral sounding at least once in their life. For example, in a survey of 2,000 men, 10.7% reported prior experience with urethral sounding. Women, yeah, I guess I didn't even think about this. Women could do it too. Studies suggest a lower prevalence among women, estimates ranging from about 2 to 5%. In some studies, up to 10. Well, that's pretty close to what the men have. So I don't know. Maybe we got to get a larger audience here. Are unavailable due to the sensitive nature of the topic. Data indicates that urethral sounding is relatively uncommon, practiced by roughly 1 in 10 men and a smaller portion of women. That's insane. I thought it would be like 2%. I actually didn't think there'd be a statistic at all, if we're being honest. Like, I thought they'd just be like, this is something that has never been fucking tested before, because no one does this. But apparently this is a common practice. So what do you put up there? Like a fucking floss? Do they make anal beads, but like for your dick? So, it's just like gets kind of stuck and then you pull it out. And I kind of want to look up a photo, but I'm not right now. That doesn't seem like my greatest idea. I already the government's already tracking me via internet. I don't need them to track me because I looked up urethra sounding. I imagine there's a correlation to urethra sounding and your yeah, we're gonna move on. Actually, I'm not gonna finish that sentence. Um, so let's see here. The next topic that I've readied for us, and actually the final one. This is gonna be a short podcast unless I find something else to talk about here. The next frontier. This is from Fox News, by the way. The next frontier. Washington grapples with its latest space oddity. Um, so let's see. We're starting here with Isaac Asimov, famously declared that he didn't believe in flying saucers. Isaac I apologize. I read Asimov as Isaac somehow. Well, it is Isaac. Countered that he believed in evidence and observation. I'll believe anything, no matter how wild and ridiculous, if there's evidence for it, Isaac said. The wilder and more ridiculous it is, however, the firmer and more solid the evidence should be. There's got to be like a point though, right? Like there's got to be like obviously like maybe alien. Like what's the point? Like what's the point where it doesn't matter how much evidence there is, you just can't believe it anymore. Like I feel like there's got to be something that's just so wild. Like no, like you just there doesn't matter what kind of evidence there is. Like you could have like God strike you down with lightning and start writing with your blood on the ground like this is true, and you still wouldn't believe it. I don't know, but let's see what evidence they released. I actually got all these topics off ChatGPT, so apparently they're releasing UFO files or like alien files, which we'll see. A space oddity, some 57 years in the making. All right, this looks like the meat and potatoes of the actual argument. They thought it was something, penetrating the spacecraft. If you thought what Apollo 12, that is, and this is really wordy. I really don't want to continue reading this. I'm not gonna lie. You know what? We're gonna actually go back to ChatGPT and oh wait, hold on here. No, I found one lawmaker who has long called for UAP transparency isn't Star Trek at the release. Tirade of information. The stuff they're dropping now is just deep state classic. Oh, that's all right. The second the deep state gets brought up, the article is just kind of fucking cooked. Um, yeah, I don't like this article. I should have. This is the one article I didn't like pre-read. I should have pre-read this. I apologize, ladies and gentlemen. That's all right. We have more topics to bring up. So, scientists solved 100-year-old piano mystery by Science Daily. Um, oh, they got like a wall of stuff here. Hold on, 100. Just got to bring it up, right? No. Tested AI against 100 humans on creativity. I think the humans. Actually, that sounds like an interesting topic. Let's see. A massive new study comparing more than 100,000 people with today's most advanced AI systems delivers a surprising result. I feel like ChatGPT is not actually that creative. I feel like I'm haven't read this article at all, so I'm gonna give my opinion on it first. I feel like ChatGPT is not that creative. Like I feel like it's very good for brainstorming and like kind of like giving you creative like topics, if you would. Like, it can bring up 20 ideas that you yourself have to go through and research. Oh, I said off an ad. That you yourself have to go through and research and like think about. So like it can give you like general ideas and kind of point you in the right direction. But I think if you want to like develop an idea further, that has to come from a human. That can't come from an AI. But we'll see. Generative AI can now beat the average human on certain creativity tests. I would say that's probably accurate. Like overall, because it doesn't like as humans you fall into one like category or one belief. Like political parties are a great example. Like you either believe this or you believe this. There's not a whole lot of people out there that are like kind of in the middle. It's a lot of like this side or this side. And I think that's how it goes with creativity too. You have your pre-confound notions or whatever, and you believe what you believe. But I also believe that if you're given like a topic or an outlook and you're told think on this further, I think you can, if you're given the time, think on it further, and I think you can think on it better than an AI can. Like I think AI is set to maybe like they can think of the 20 main topics, and then if you give it one topic, it can devolve like 10 ideas down, but eventually it's going to hit a wall because it can't really think for itself. It pulls, from other people and stuff. Humans, on the other hand, I think we could think of like 200 ways down. It might take a really long time, and not everyone can do it. But I think, especially if it's something you're passionate about or something you know about, I think that's true. But we'll see what this article continues to say. Models like ChatGPT-4 showed strong performance on tasks designated to measure original thinking and idea generation, sometimes outperforming typical human responses, but there is a clear ceiling. The most creative humans, especially the top percent, still leave AI well behind, particularly on richer creative work like poetry and storytelling. Really, I feel like poetry and storytelling are where AI actually comes the best. I feel like it's AI, like idea generation. Because, well, I guess storytelling is idea generation, and so is poetry. Um, but I think of like, like outside of the box thinking ideas, or because like I use AI a lot to like, I come up with a gift, and it points me in the right direction, but it can't devolve much further from that. So like, I give me a gift for my girlfriend, it says flowers, and I'm like, okay, well, how about this? How about this? How about this? I feel like when you start asking other questions about flowers, or like kinds of flowers, like should I get crochet flowers? Should I get this? Should I get that? It doesn't really like get much deeper than just flowers like a human could. Like a human, if you told them, my girlfriend loves flowers, I feel like you could, if like you had that conversation with another human, it'd be a lot deeper, and they'd be able to come up with a lot more ideas than ChatGPT could, and a lot more like human specific ideas too. Alrighty, uh new research shows AI outperforms the average person on creative tests, a striking turning point for generative models. Can generative artificial intelligence system like ChatGPT genuinely create original ideas? A new study led by, okay, this is actually interesting, like, because I don't think they can. It's possible, but I think they need to pull it from something else. But maybe it can combine ideas and come up with its own stuff. I don't actually. I'm not a AI professional or anything. A new study led by Professor Cameron G. Jibber, I think is how that's pronounced, from the Department of Psychology at the University of de Montreal, with participation from renowned AI researcher. Okay, I don't care. Takes on the question that an unprecedented skills AI. Okay, AI researchers. Research evaluated several leading language group models, including yeah. Uh, Our study shows that AI-based systems, based on large language models, can now outperform average humans on creativity on well-defined tasks. That result may be surprising, even unsettling, but our study also highlights an equally important observation. Even the best AI systems can still fall short of the levels reached by the most creative humans. Yeah, I think that's a good way of putting it. It is on well-defined tasks. Like, if you as the human come up with the idea and the process and the story, I think you define it really well. I think AI is more creative. But I think if you're really like you're kind of like you're brainstorming ideas, like you're doing research, and you want to, like, I don't know, you're trying to figure out like a new form of like a new form of math per se, that's just never been done before. I don't think AI is anywhere near as creative as humans, and I don't think they will ever figure that out. And I don't think they ever will be able to figure that out. I think that'll always be like a human thing. Like they might be able, they like would speed up the process, because you can be like, oh, here's how you do this. Test it 20,000 different ways for me, and I think that's how it'll be used. But I don't think that they will ever be able to actually come up with their own ideas. In fact, when researchers examined the most creative half of participants, their average scores surpassed those of every AA model tested. The gap grew even larger amongst the top 10 percentile. Okay, it seems like more than half of the humans were more creative than the AI. So it's just purely like a fucking IQ thing. Like, if you if you're smart, you can if you have like an IQ over 100, you're more creative than an AI. You can come up with fucking ideas. Good work. And then just like the dumbasses who are on the lower side of the spectrum just can't fucking come up with ideas, I guess. Um all right, so we developed a what were they testing on though? Cuz if it's like come up with, I don't know, 100 different words, obviously AI is going to win. It could just go to like the local encyclopedia and just be like, "Yo, give me 100 words." To evaluate creativity fairly across humans and machines, they used multiple methods. The primary tool was divergent association task, widely called DAT. It's used to measure creativity from the ability to generate diverse and original ideas from a similar prompt. Okay. Let's see here. whether human or AI, to list 10 words that are unrelated in meaning unrelated in meaning as possible. An example of a highly creative response from this would be like galaxy, fork, freedom, algae. Okay. Performance on this task is strongly linked to results on other established creativity tests while used generate. Um, yeah, but like, how do you measure that? Like, how do you measure like which words are more different than others? Because like AI could obviously go, something in space, something in dinner, something in this, and I could go something in furniture, something in dining, something in restaurants, whatever. I guess dining and restaurants are pretty similar, but what's more like? How do we determine what's more valuable or like what's further away? That's kind of a stupid test. I feel like it's like a good IQ thing. I think just to see like how fast you can figure it out. But I think like there's no way to measure because obviously AI is gonna be faster. That's just like that's its thing. Also, it can pull from you know websites and stuff that talk about this, like psychology books and stuff. That can be like, oh, these are the best 10. I mean, obviously a human can't do that. From words list to creative research explored whether AI success on the simple word association task could extend to more complex and realistic creative activities. To test this, they compared AI systems to human on creative writing challenges such as composing a haiku, writing movie plot summaries, and producing short stories. Um, hmm. Those are all things that I would say AI is genuinely better at. I think, I think especially with short stories, AI after a certain point kind of loses itself and it starts like repeating itself and it starts like doing the same thing over and over again. And I think that's where humans win over AI is like at a certain point AI just kind of starts tripping over itself and can't really keep track of like a very in-depth world. Like it couldn't write Lord of the Rings. Like I don't think it has like the ability to look back on everything it's said and keep everything straight as like a human could. So I think in like an advanced creativity section like that, I think like humans win because we can just kind of keep track of notes better than AI can. At least in my experiences, I've never used like a paid model or anything, so maybe the paid models are better. But we'll see. Can AI creativity be adjusted? These findings raise another important question. Is AI creativity fixed or can it be shaped? The study shows that creativity in AI can be adjusted by changing technological settings, particularly the model's temperature. The temperature? What? This this controls how predictable or adventurous the generated responses are. At lower temperature settings, the AI produces safer and more conventional outputs. At higher temperature settings, response become more varied, less predictable, and more exploratory, allowing the system to move beyond familiar ideas. So, familiar ideas to the average person, or like familiar ideas with like the world in general. Because if you could write a whole new book without any prompting from like I could type in like write a new book or write a new book that's never been written before. That's sick, but I think usually you need to have some sort of human intervention to be like, all right, I want my book to be about this. You got to give it the major plot and then kind of guide it through. It's like leading a horse through a fucking maze. The researchers also found that creativity is strongly influenced by how instructions are written. For example, prompts that encourage models to think about the word origins and structure lead to more unpredicted associations and higher creativity scores. These results emphasize that AI creativity depends heavily on human guidance, yeah, that's what I was saying, making interaction and prompting a crucial part of the creative process. Yeah, I think that's a good answer for that. Like I think that humans are definitely more like could be more creative with the assistance of AI, but I think like if you pit just AI and just humans against each other, if you told AI, all right, make a 1,000-page story, and you told like and make it advanced and it's like like make it like a high fantasy book and make it as advanced and make it as many different people and like cultures as possible. I think if you told a human to do the same thing, I think humans would win. So will AI replace human creators? I actually think they will. I don't think that I will have a job well, obviously I don't do this for a job, but if by some miracle I manage to be able to do this for a job, I actually believe that AI will get like smart enough that it will replace creators. I think that there will be people behind the AI, like there is now. There's obviously like there's people who are posting AI slop, and there's people who are using it to write or this or that. But I think within the next 25 years, all all forms of media will be at least 60% AI. Like I genuinely believe that between writing, posting, development, whatever, editing. I think AI editing will become a big thing here within the next 10 years. I mean, because they just like AI is so. I don't want to say thorough, but it is pretty thorough. Like it can like especially in like the modern era with TikTok and everything, everyone's attention spans are so gone. Mine, mine too, if we're being honest. I think that AI will be able to like just like give you the constant stimulation that your brain needs in a developing world like this. Sorry, there was an ad that was distracting me. Got to get off that. Um, that being said, I think there will be people behind it. Like I think like animation TV shows will be the first major like the first major form of media that isn't YouTube or TikTok that gets hit by like that gets hit by AI. I think like animation, particularly voice acting and like the actual animation itself will be like the major forms hit just because you give concept ideas and then because like that's what's obviously animation is the most like expensive part and voice acting is the most expensive part, and I think there'll be people behind it making it. But one thing that I think will actually happen when I guess AI starts taking over, I think there's just going to be a like a big return to like old forms of media, like piano and orchestras and things of the like things that are in person that people can respect because like it's a human craft. I think as AI gets better and better and you can't tell the difference between what's AI and what's not, I think that is going to be a huge thing in the future is orchestras and just live performances, whether that's a comedian or like I think like plays and like I think it was Buster Keaton, the dude who used to like back in like the 60s, he would do like crazy shit like he'd jump off trains and stuff in front of live audiences and he'd do like acrobatics. I think stuff like that is actually going to become very very popular within honestly probably the next decade, but the next 30 years for sure. Like when you genuinely can't tell a difference, because right now you can still kind of tell a difference. You look at the hair or you look at the fingers or whatever else, you can kind of tell a difference, and I think it'll stay that way for about another 5 to 10 years, but eventually you just will have no clue. And I think that's when live performances will start becoming a much bigger thing. Let's see, was it Buster? Yeah, Buster Keaton. I'm gonna look at some of the stuff he did because I think this is where history is, or where the world is going. Like they say, I had a teacher tell me about 2 years ago, and it's the most correct statement I think I've ever heard. Is every 30 years styles repeat. So back in the 90s, people were wearing scrunchies, getting perms, things of the like. Now, I mean, if you look at today, I mean, scrunchies was like 5 years ago, but people are getting perms. 2000s, we're almost into the 2000s, and 2000s like baby tees and punk rock and that kind of stuff was a really big thing. I think that's starting to come back. So I think that we might see the same thing with media. I think we might begin to see a resurgence, like kind of going. Like I think it'll start with like maybe more basic like classical things like operas, and then before you know it'll be like slapstick comedies like Buster Keaton. I'm referencing things on this screen. I don't know why you guys can't see them, but I think that's where things will go. Like it's just live sets. He was the first like major director. Hold on, I took a film class. That's how I know most of this. Who was the director who made Back to the Moon in black and white? Yeah, Le Voyage dans la Lune. He was a if you guys have never seen any of this guy's stuff, look up director of Trip to the Moon 1902. It's it's actually really like it's awesome. Like it's awesome to watch. It was all like live performance because no CGI or really editing back then. There was very basic editing, but nothing too crazy. Um, there like if you go back to I think we're gonna start seeing like a resurgence back to that too. Is just like no green screens, nothing. Because this stuff is actually it's so cool to watch. Like the live sets, the physical sets. It's just a very different, kind of more chaotic look. And I think we'll see more of that too, especially as like AI takes over green screening. It's just gonna become so commonplace that people are just gonna like lose appreciation for it. And I think we'll go back to like live sets and like real props and stuff. Like yeah, it's gonna be more expensive, but I think the world, assuming we don't like really mess things up, will have a lot more money and a lot more resources to do like cool things like humanity should be. Once not everyone, then like once only like 20% of people are working, there's gonna be obviously there's gonna be people who just stay at home all day on their phone and stuff. But I think there'll be a lot of creative people out there who go out and maybe start doing like stuff like this again as hobbies, and I think it'll kind of make a resurgence. So I think it'll start with opera, and then it'll go to this, and then who knows, maybe like fucking radio will come back or something. I find that hard to believe, but I don't know. Hope we can hope and pray. Get my podcast on the local radio. That'd be awesome. So anyway, I think this is pretty much all my beliefs for today. So thank you, ladies and gentlemen. If you watched to the end, make sure to drop a like, subscribe, and stay tuned for the next one. It'll hopefully be out tomorrow. Probably not. I don't know. Actually, yeah, I usually post these like 3 days in a row, and then I like forget about it for a week. But anyway, thank you again for watching, and have a good one. Peace out.